For a family business to sustain to the third generation, I think statistics said that it's lesser than 12%. To me, it is not about doing great things, but more like what Mother Teresa said, doing small things with great love. Because I don't want my forefathers' efforts and their hard work to disappear like that. And so that is such a waste if, it stopped at our generation. I'm Dorothy. I'm a gemologist and a jewelry designer. I'm currently the third generation jeweler in my family. To me, jewelry holds a very special place in my heart because it represents my family history and legacy that was passed down from one generation to the other. It also consists of sweat, blood, and tears that my forefathers had worked so hard to build it. Jewelry craftsman, it's really a very traditional, tedious work. A lot of people can't withstand this kind of environment. And I feel like my forefathers, like my late grandpa and my dad, they did so is because of love for the family. So they can endure that kind of hardship, that kind of long hours of working, very tedious work, very repetitious work. I was very young when I first got exposed to jewelry because my family has been in the business for over 70 years. My family business started since my late grandpa, Mr. Martin. He was an immigrant from Guangzhou and he came to Malaya back then when Malaya was still under British colony. But he only started the jewelry business after World War II, which I safely presume it's around late 40s or early 50s. So since young, I grew up watching my dad crafting jewelry on his bench. We have our own design language. For example, our crown design that has been passed on from my late grandpa down to my dad and now to us. It really tells the story of 3 generations. Of course, we emphasize a lot on timeless designs and also quality because we believe that jewelry is meant to be passed on to the next generation. So you need it to be very durable and very quality as well. To us, our design are mostly based on simplicity, timelessness, practicality, and durability. So a lot of our designs we try to keep it very simple so that you can actually pass it on to generations. For example, the rings that I'm wearing right now, they are from the 1970s where my dad made for my mom. So it's something that, it brings so much meaning to me because of how timeless it looks, how beautiful it still looks after so many years. It's still, a lot of people would be looking at the rings and then they'll be like, oh my God, your ring is so beautiful. And I would think that it's part of a good design that can actually withstand the test of time. With our hand, I think the biggest misconception that people have towards jewelry is that they do not have the capacity to distinguish between different kind of jewelries. So for example, handcrafted jewelry, we need a lot of time to create just unique piece for a client. Whereas for mass production, they can produce hundreds and thousands of pieces in just one day. So a lot of people tend to compare the prices between a handcrafted with mass production items, and I find it to be very unfair. I'm sure different people, they have different kind of priority. So the reason why I feel like we still sustain this kind of business model is because we appreciate beauty and finer things in life. I would think that beauty is always dismissed as being subjective. A lot of people would just say that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. To me, beauty is very closely related to goodness and truth. There's a saying in Latin, pulchritudo splendor veritatis, which means that beauty is the splendor of truth. And to understand beauty, I think people also need to understand the virtues, which are like wisdom, justice, temperance, kindness. Those things are beautiful that everyone should learn about. Well, of course, jewelry is decorative to us, but at the same time, the value of jewelry really depends on the story that embodies in that jewelry piece itself. So just like how I explained, I'm wearing the jewelries from my mom, I love it because of the sentiments that it carries. To me, why it is important for you to buy something that you like rather than looking at just the price itself is because you want to wear a jewelry that makes you happy. So that is really quite what jewelry means, is to become an ornament that you wear. That is very important to me. The reason I started Dorothy Jen Atelier because I wanted to share with more people about jewelry art, because I traveled to a lot of places which makes me feel like the things of the world, everything is nice, but I feel like to have this family legacy is unique to our family, and I feel like it is important for me to sustain it, because also that the youngest master craftsmen that I know so far, they're already in their late 40s or early 50s. So the age is really quite advanced for craftsmen. So I hope that with the jewelry workshop, people can actually be interested in traditional handcraft. Maybe they'll take it up and to venture into this. The thing that I am proud of myself is that I was called to sustain this family heritage, and I feel like this is something that is not common nowadays. And for a family business to sustain to the third generation, I think statistics said that it's lesser than 12% of probability. To me, it is not about doing great things, but more like what Mother Teresa said, doing small things with great love. So a lot of young people, they love to customize jewelry because they can express a sense of individuality. So with Frou-Frou, I tried to fill in the gap to cater for the younger market and to provide quality customized jewelry. Of course, profiting from business is great, but do you still hold the true value and the meaning of why you started the business in the very beginning? So that is like, it's really up to individual to decipher. Because I don't want my forefathers' efforts and their hard work to disappear like that. And so that is such a waste of, it stopped at our generation.
没有故事的东西就是好像死鱼这样子，可是死鱼也是有故事的嘛，对吗？为什么它会死掉？好像一个鞋子也是有故事的，为什么我要创造这个鞋子？这就是人生啊，每一天的情绪，每一天造化的环境在改变着嘛，我们人类是在进化着，而不是在改变，人还是在进化，从人猿就进化到现在人类啊。